Newfie butts I cannot lie. When the first bee begins to fly, they're big and fluffy and oh so yummy. I love big Newfie butts. I love big Newfie butts. Time since we've seen you. Welcome back. Hey, you know, it has been a while, but we've got a very important topic we'd like to talk to you about today. That topic being how to brush your Newfoundland. Why do we want to talk about that, right? You just take a brush and you brush them? No, not quite that easy. There are some particular skills that you need to know in order to make sure that you and your Newfie are happy all throughout the year. Today we're going to talk a wee bit about that, talk about brushing styles. We're going to talk about the equipment that we like to use, how we use it, when we use it, and where we use it on your Newfie. That way you guys can be the best of friends, particularly in the summer, when we need to make sure that their coat is open and they're as cool as possible. Alright, let's get to it then. Alright, welcome back. Hey, we're going to talk a wee bit about the tools that we use to groom our Newfoundlands. There's lots of tools available in the market. People use different tools for different things. This is just what I use. I'm going to make a disclaimer right now. This is how I groom and brush my dogs. You might do it different, and that's alright. You got to find what works for you and your dog. Different dogs, different coat types, all that kind of stuff are in play. You learn from different people, different techniques. I've got a lot of things to learn myself, but certainly I've got my own technique down because I've got a lot of Newfoundlands. I've got to be able to groom them. So let's talk about the different types of tools real quick. You got combs, brushes. You got specialty tools for mats and undercoat and things like that. You got stuff specifically for the nails. Grooming accoutrements, auxiliary things like grooming nooses, that type of thing. So there's different categories. Like you said, there's lots of different tools out there on the market. You got to find what works for you. So let's talk about the combs. Real quick, I only use 3 basic combs. I use a poodle comb. Love this tool. This is one I use the most. It's got wide bristles to it. It goes to the coat quite easy. It gets a lot of things out without really tearing things up. After that, I might go and use the finish comb. The finish comb, again, it's got fairly wide bristles at one end and narrow at the other. So when I get to more fine places like around the face and behind the ears, I can use the other end there. It's also got a nice weight to it, so I can get through the comb, and I use this for finishing as well. This is the flea comb. Be careful with this one. It's got really narrow bristles on it. You can really pull out more coat than you want, so you got to be careful with this one. But in those tight places like behind the ears, I'll be using this one. Just a wee bit to get things out. Then we move on to the brushes. Several different types of brushes. The 2 that I use are the slicker brush. Never use the slicker brush on the outside of the coat. This is very purposeful for me. You do what you want, but I'm guaranteeing you, you're going to have a dog that looks like a chow if you be using this on the back of the coat. It just splits it and breaks it. It's bad news from there. So I only use this on the feet, but I'll show you when we get there when I use that. Another brush I really like is a pin brush. Something about these brushes there, it's kind of a thinner brush. You're not going to get down and get to the skin with this one, but it's a good finishing brush. Make sure that when you get the pin brushes, at least from what I've experienced, that you don't get the ones that have the little nobies on the end. Those actually catch the hair and pull them out, and then you're going to have bad news, bald spots, thinning spots, pain for the dog, that type of thing. We don't want that when we're grooming. It should be a good experience for them. I got to tell you, my dogs love to be groomed. They're on the table, they love being there, they love the attention, because nothing we do is painful. It's all stuff that we do to help them and make them feel better, and that's why we do it. It's not for looks as much as we like to think so. It's because it helps them. It keeps them healthy when we do that. Alright, so some of the specialty tools that we use, we've got different types of mat breakers. A blade type mat breaker. We'll use that to get mats out there. Mats are part of having Newfoundlands. Alright, don't feel bad if you got a mat. Feel bad if you've got a mat that's causing a hot spot. Alright, that means that you're not taking care of things when they need to be taken care of. But you're going to get mats. It just happens. Type thing. So we've got a different type of mat breaker. It's got several blades on it, and we use that to kind of pick the mat out. Maz Quote King. There's different types of this. This is the one that I use in particular. I like it a lot, but again, you can take a lot of coat out with this. It's meant to get the undercoat out, but if you use it too much in one spot, you'll feel it. It starts taking the top coat, and you've got big divots in your dog. Ask me how I know. Alright.
How do you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I might have done it once or twice. So it takes practice using all these tools. The specialty nail type tools, I do mine in 2 steps. I use clippers like this, where you actually go in and clip the nail. Again, if you're not comfortable doing this, this is one of those areas where people just cringe and think it's cruel to the dog. So if you're not comfortable doing it, fine. Take them to a groomer, have them do it, pay the few bucks to have it done. Take them to your vet, have them do it, pay the few bucks to have it done. But have it done. Do not let their nails grow out. It's not good for their feet, their toes, for you, for anybody. You've got to keep the nails done. You've got to do it quite often. Every time, at least once a week, I'm trimming the nails down and making sure. So I use the trimmers there to get the big chunks off. And then I go down with the grinder, and I use the grinder and get the edges down and make it nice and round so they're not catching themselves, anybody else, carpet, furniture, that type of stuff, if you let them on the furniture. Another tool, since I'm doing nails, I've got styptic powder. This keeps the bleeding down. So we use this if we get some bleeding. You're going to click your dog, it's going to happen. It's not particularly painful to them, it just looks bad because there's a lot of blood that comes out. But don't be too worried about it. Just get the styptic powder on there and kind of put some pressure and make sure it stops bleeding. It's going to bleed for a wee bit, so be patient with it. But don't flip out when you click your dog. That's when people kind of shut down and don't want to do the nails anymore. There's particular ways to do the nails. We're not going to go into that really heavy, but you want to start when they're young, just like we do with everything else. I firmly believe when the puppies come home, we start right away on the grooming table. I feed them on a grooming table. I give them treats on the grooming table. We do all sorts of activities on the grooming table. We're not actually grooming, we're just having fun. That way, as they get older, they know that the grooming table is a fun place to be. They like being there, and you're not having problems when they want to jump down. If they've been there for 15 minutes, because when they get older, it's going to be a while on the grooming table. Alright, one of the things we use on the grooming table is a grooming noose. It's not a torture tool. It's very good. It keeps them safe. It keeps them stable so that you can get to the areas you need to get to. And it makes sure that they're not moving around or jumping around and jumping off. Never leave your dog on the table unattended with a grooming noose. Let me say that again. Never leave your dog on a table unattended with a grooming noose. Alright, we got that. Safety first. Again, this is how I do it. I'm not claiming this is the right way, I'm claiming it's my way. If you like it, use it. If you don't, find something else. But brush your dogs, make sure they get groomed. Alright then, let's talk about actually brushing.